Hello, everybody. This is Global Warming Skeptic and Black Community. We need to have a talk. A few disclaimers before we do talk, though. If you want to hear what I have to say, just go ahead and skip ahead. But I encourage you to listen to the disclaimers because it's important. Disclaimer number one, I'm not talking about all black people. I'm talking about the black community, which I define as anybody who believes in Black Lives Matter or follows Black Lives Matter, anybody who considers themselves as, quote, the Brotherhood, who bands together. If you think all conservatives, most, or many conservatives are racists, or many white people in general are racists, you're part of that. If you think that white privilege exists, you're also part of that. So that'll be addressed to you. If you're just somebody who doesn't care about politics, who, um, you just have a life like most other people, not including myself, and, you have a 9 to 5 and you somehow came across this isn't for you, and I ask you to please click off this video because nothing here is going to be addressed to you at all if you do not care about politics or any of this other racial stuff, because I don't even want the appearance that it is toward you, because it's gonna get rough, and I don't it's not to you. I can't stress that enough. Third, I'm not a racist. If I were a racist, I wouldn't spend the time to make this video, including doing many takes of this to make sure I get my points out in a coherent fashion. I wouldn't even waste my time because I do care. I do care because I'm from an inner city with a majority black population, and I've seen it and I've experienced some of it as well. Fortunately, my family was able to get out of the inner city when I was young. I didn't have to experience a lot of it, but I've seen it. My family's dealt with it, many of them their whole lives, and for many generations. I'm from Toledo, Ohio, so I do know what I'm talking about here. And lastly, like I said, this is going to get rough, so if you are emotionally unstable in any way, don't watch this video because it's going to get rough, and I don't want to cause any kind of outbursts, any kind of violent behavior through anything I say to somebody who will get upset with the words I'm saying. Only stay if you genuinely, honestly want to hear the words of a conservative who's lived through a lot of this stuff, knows what you're dealing with, and knows what's going on in the world. All the disclaimers are done, so I'll give you a few seconds to leave this video right now. Now that you've stayed here, I assume you want to hear me, so let's just cut to the chase. First of all, I understand there are systemic blockades against people of color, particularly black people. There are people who wish to keep you down, keep you in poverty. There are people who keep you there just to get your votes, but it's your fault. Let that sink in. It is your fault. For the past 50 years, what have you done? You have voted for Democrat after Democrat after Democrat after Democrat in Detroit, my home city of Toledo, Cleveland, St. Louis, Baltimore, Chicago, Milwaukee, Democrat after Democrat. They have lied to you. They have manipulated you. They have insulted your intelligence. And what do you do in response? You vote them all right back in, into your city council, into your senate, as your mayors, anybody that's any elected position. And not only do you do it, 80, 90, 95%. You voted for Obama. 95%. 50% youth unemployment of black people. That's you. If you take every other ethnicity, not just white people, every other ethnicity, every other race, every other demographic, conservatives win in a landslide. But you keep voting these people in over and over. And your cities, your inner cities, are rotting. And what do they tell you? What do they tell anybody who points this out? What did Hillary Clinton say in that debate? What did she say? She said, look at how he talks about the inner cities. Look at how he talks. Look at the negativity. Tell me something. Is that what you want to expect to live in for the rest of your lives? Is that what you want your children to live in? Because you're putting them there. That's where you're putting them. And yes, other people are at fault, but I'm tired of blaming other people. And you should be tired of it too. All of you. And it's sickening that I have to watch it. I don't have to live in it. I don't have a stake in it. I don't even have to care. There's no reason for me to care. But when I look at Toledo, I see somebody driving through, like EconCat88. I'll watch his videos on YouTube. It makes me cry. I don't want to see that. And it's like I said, I don't have a reason to care. I don't even want to care, because I will mock my home city to prevent myself from caring. And it's like I said, I can go all along and blame all the powers that do this, all the manipulators. But the blame's got to come at you sometime. And it gives me no pleasure. But you guys got to start taking responsibility for what you've done. Because a lot of this is your doing. You don't fall for the same trick for 50 years and not get blamed. It comes down to you. It comes down to your vote. Because what happens? They talk of unity. They talk of inclusion. They talk of intolerance. They talk of the other side being racist. When they get elected, what do? Not a fucking thing. And yet you'll just keep voting for them over and over and over. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Won't you? Obama, in 2008, was supposed to be the savior for African Americans. What did he do? Again, 50% plus youth unemployment. Crime's starting to go up again. Murders are starting to go up again. And who's the scapegoat? Of course, it's the police. And it's like I said, I'm from an inner city. That's the first thing people want there. Because the few cops that do exist, they're just as crooked as the criminals themselves. Buying off, discriminating, a lot of them are even racist, and they're, more importantly, underfunded. They can't even get trained to deal with the stuff. In fact, they don't even respond to crimes. They respond to dead bodies there. They respond to dead bodies. Especially in South Toledo. Read the Toledo Blade for yourselves. A headline is like reads like an obituary. It's just, but I can go on, and I have gone on about the wrongs of the inner cities, about what's not been done. But I'm just putting it to you guys straight. It's your fucking fault. And I don't care how mad you get at it. I don't care if you call me a racist. I don't give a damn. Truth is truth. 50 years. My family worked in the auto plants. My family's at least 3 generations in Toledo. Most of them, 3/4 of my grandparents' side, all from Toledo. We worked in those auto factories. We all made a killing. And they had relationships with African Americans before that was even a thing. When interracial marrying was frowned upon. We actually did it. We lived side by side. We worked side by side, and there was not a damn problem until the manipulation came. And then everybody, black and white, went down. The difference was people like my family, we had external connections that we could get out of the hoods. But, and I understand it's much, much harder for you guys, but again, everybody got shafted in those cities. So, here's what you can do. And I don't even care who you vote for, but I want you to understand what's happening. You're being brainwashed over and over that the other side is evil and that your side is either good or less evil. They're hedging their bets in many ways on you. You are being taken for granted. And so, vote for the Democrat if you want. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. You're a grown man, you're a grown woman, you do that. But what I want you to know is what they're doing to you, and you could stop it, not necessarily by voting Republican, but when you vote for the Democrat, you better make sure you're thinking for yourself, and you're not letting them do your thinking for you. You're not reacting to every little news story, every little thing that they say, every little tidbit that comes up in the newspaper that the mainstream media comes up with. Because you know what? And I want to show you guys a little something. This will be my added bonus. Here's from my previous video I was doing. I'll probably have to, because I'm a nimwit. Okay, I think this is it right here. Alright, I want you guys to look at something. This is, we're going to go to the two means. And I'm going to show you exactly the substance I'm talking about. Now you have events over the past few days, and even you see reacting to everything, such as Trump's naughty words, which was I believe it's the 18th. And you have all these up and downs, right? So let's go to the characteristics. As you can see, people are reacting to stuff that comes up in the news and everything. They're reacting to stuff because a lot of people are finally starting to stay informed on this election, but this is what troubles me. This is the line right here. And it's not just that Trump's vote is low, that's not the big concern for me. What's concerning is how you guys are not reacting to new information. Not at all. I'll tell you what this tells me. Almost none of you are paying attention to what's going on. Because if you were, you'd see look at these humps. Look at how people react to different information, different inputs, different trends, and yet you're not reacting. So I'm either to believe one or two things. You guys are either stone-faced, don't react to anything, or you're not reading. Start keeping up with things. Get informed on the candidates. And I want more of you to go and vote, but I want you to be informed. I want you to not just take information from one source, the mainstream media, or just watch the news once a week, because that's unacceptable. It is plain unacceptable. Anyhow, I think I've exhausted this video, so here's my advice. Just start thinking for yourselves, because if you let Democrats keep doing your thinking for you, then there's not a damn thing that's going to change. Thanks for listening. God bless.